2010, a man named Owen Dennis came back from a plane trip from China. He thought, what would happen if a girl was stuck on an infinite plane? But the idea wasn't as clear, as he had to change a few elements, such as turning an infinite plane into a train, because there wasn't that much to do on a plane, so a train was the next big thing. After that thought, he went to develop a series that would change the animation medium that Cartoon Network does not want you to see. The official 8-minute pilot was uploaded on Cartoon Network's YouTube channel in November 2016. The pilot created a cult following, giving it over a whopping 5 million views. It definitely got a bunch of attention from animation fans and kids, but people were worried whether Cartoon Network was going to pick it up or not. Around that time, Teen Titans Go was rerunning like crazy, and most die-hard Cartoon Network fans needed something to watch that isn't strictly comedy. That's when Cartoon Network gave the announcement that they were airing the pilot onto the channel on a Saturday at 6 a.m. where most children are sleeping. But that didn't matter though, because the pilot got over 700,000 views, which is very impressive for a 6 a.m. time slot. The pilot really garnered an audience, both young and old, but after that, nothing happened. It was up in the air whether the pilot was going to get picked up or not. That was until 2018, where Cartoon Network on Twitter tweeted this very ominous video of an infinity symbol looping with the year 2019, giving it a full confirmation that it was greenlit. We didn't know if the show was going to have the same art style as a pilot, or if it was going to be an anthology series. All we knew about it was that it got greenlit, and if you know me, I was very excited to see what one had in store for the series. We had to wait until San Diego Comic-Con to see a sneak peek of the show, and yep, that is definitely not the final art style. I'm pretty sure Owen animated this. I've seen some of his comic strips in this style. Tulip looks fine in this test footage, but I prefer the final art style more, which we'll get into soon. There were a bunch of theories on when the series will be released. Owen said that the first season takes place in November. Does that mean that the series will release in that month?
Nope.
August it is. Now, I didn't see Infinity Train the week it was released because I was in camp at the time, but I did catch up after I got home, and man, what a ride. The story is about a 13-year-old girl named Tulip. Newsflash, her parents are divorced. After she gets dropped off from school, we learn that she's going to a game design camp in Oshkosh. But Tulip's dad couldn't take her because he mixed up the dates by mistake. Tulip wasn't happy about that, so much so she runs away from home to go to Oshkosh herself. But there's an issue. Oshkosh is 300 miles away. Oh no! What if there was a motor vehicle that, there it is. So she hops on and meets a robot named 11 and a talking dog named Atticus. They go on adventures and learn lessons along the way while meeting new characters and trying not to die. Fun. All of this culminates into finally meeting the conductor while Tulip finally goes home. What I really appreciate about book 1 is the writing. Tulip's whole arc about being in denial about her parents getting a divorce hits home for me personally because I also have divorced parents. And that's the thing about book 1 and the rest of the series, of course. It feels very personal. I'm not sure if Owen had divorced parents growing up or if he had friends that had them, but this is a fairly accurate representation of kids going through a divorce, and it really hits hard on the episode of the cast car. The first 3 episodes were pretty good in my opinion, but I don't think that they're as important as the next episode right here. Easily my favorite episode from book 1 and potentially my favorite episode in the entire series. We get to see Tulip's perspective on her thoughts on the divorce in depth, and it's beautifully written. When we get into the cat's car, Tulip finds a VHS tape with her name on it. Every passenger gets these, and when you put it into a VCR on the train and you watch it, you get sucked into the tape. We'll get to see more of these tapes throughout the next 2 books, and it would have been one of the most consistent themes in the show. The unfinished car is a one returner episode, but it follows up with a beautiful ensemble that Tulip was going through the majority of book 1. And even though this isn't my favorite episode from the series, it's definitely a great episode. The Chrome Car is probably one of my favorite episodes. It's a really good precursor to book 2, and we get to see MT's motivations of getting out of the car. Plus, this has one of my favorite scenes from the entire book.
But that proves you should be talking to me now. I don't want those mirror police to hurt you.
Who cares what they do to me? I can't step outside. There aren't any reflective surfaces out there. I don't even have a name. I'm still nothing. I'm nothing at all.
We get to see more of her in book 2, and we'll talk about that more in depth soon. But man, what an episode this was.
Ad break.
next episode, The Ball Pit Car, is the darkest episode in the book. The first half will make you think that this will be a fun episode with the characters until... Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait. Oh shit. They even put some details in there that you would not catch in the first viewing of the episode, like the sewer's shadow and peeping it out here and there. Also, the horror influences are incredible. I did not expect to get creeped out by this. The way the steward and the golems are animated in this show, specifically this episode, gives me chills down my spine. And that ending, man, Jesus. It's an amazing episode the whole way through, and the way it juxtaposes itself from the first half being pretty fun to the very second half being very dark is so cool. After that, we transition into episode 9, The Pass Car. It starts off where the last episode left off, and while it's more quote-unquote chill than the last episode, there's a bunch of lore dump about the conductor. So it turns out that the conductor wasn't an evil robot as the show framed it out to be, but a woman named Amelia. She was in love with another person named Ulrich. She even proposed to him while they were living together. But sadly, he passed away. Amelia was so devastated when she heard the news, not even going to the funeral. Later, we get to see her go to the top of the building that they used to go to. And, wow, that's pretty dark. Until the train picked her up. Now, we get to learn more about what happened when she got onto the train in book 4. And we would have gotten a more detailed story about it in book 5, which could have been a full-length movie, but I guess Cartoon Network hates adults for some reason. Anyway, after Tulip learns all this information, she gets mixed feelings about the situation. She doesn't want to sympathize with Amelia because of what happened to Atticus, but she was in love with someone she lost, which felt like a very short amount of time. I think this was a very good wake-up call for Tulip. She was so caught up in running away from her problems to realize that it wasn't a solution. I feel like it's smart writing to make main protagonists self-reflect on their flaws. It makes them very relatable. After that, she gets her number down to 0, but she doesn't take the exit because she has to save Atticus. It wouldn't feel right if she left it on a note like this. So the episode ends with the gang heading to the engine to face Amelia, with this amazing score by KANYE, might I add. Which leads us to the final episode of the book, The Engine. And honestly, for an 11-minute finale, this bangs hard. There was a bunch of tension built off of the last episode, and it made me wonder whether the final episode would exceed my expectations or if the finale would just feel rushed because of the short-ass length. But it definitely delivered as one of my favorite episodes of the show, but because of the length, it's not perfect. I feel like Amelia's reformation came in way too quick, but I do think that Amelia is a very intimidating and likable antagonist. We're also back on the unfinished car, which in that episode had a bunch of foreshadowing on what the car was based off of. And that's one of the coolest things about the show. It's very replayable. You can watch the whole book over and over again and notice something new. Anyway, we gotta wrap this book up. One finds his mum, which is the control panel of the train. Again, we would have seen more of this in book 5, but I'm not gonna explain this any further. Y'all know what happened. Tulip understands Amelia and tells her to accept that Ulrich is gone. But that doesn't mean that she couldn't change for the better. Amelia has a long way to go, and she knows it. Tulip gets her door open. She says goodbye to One and Atticus, and it's very bittersweet. Ashley Johnson does an amazing job as Tulip. It's unreal. She gets back home, and we get a 7-month time skip. She gets a new design with a very cute ponytail, and her parents leave on good terms. She gets picked up by her dad to go to the game design camp, and her mom would pick her up after. I really like how realistic the characters are. It's not like Tulip's parents have to be together. I also like the detail when Tulip leaves, her reflection is gone. It's a really cute detail. Does that mean most people will look at her as a vampire, or like, answer the fucking question? All jokes aside, this is a great finale. It's very short, but they managed to make the 11-minute format work, which I don't think it's a very easy task to do, especially with a story-driven show like this. I'm looking at you, Star Versus.
You know what it's like to think that if you had just been better, things would have been different. That you're responsible for fixing things that are beyond your control. Just know that I speak from experience when I say, this is not your fault.
Well, that was book 1, The Perennial Child, and it's pretty damn good. Many people lauded this as one of the best animated series that Cartoon Network has put out in recent memory, and it's pretty apparent why. The writing is great, the animation is great too, plus those beautiful watercolored backgrounds on each setting. Like, seriously, I need these on my wall, but alas, colored printers will do. The voice acting is amazing as well. Ashley Johnson does a fantastic job as Tulip. She's been in the voice acting game for a while now, and even if you hear Ellie from The Last of Us, or Tara from Teen Titans or Teen Titans Go, she'll always do a pretty bang-up job. Then you get One voiced by Jeremy Crutchley and Owen Dennis. These two have very good chemistry as One. Jeremy's very optimistic tone as Glad One meshes well with Owen's pessimistic as Sad One. It's very adorable too, especially Sad One. Ernie Hudson is Atticus, and he does an amazing job as a corgi. He was also on the original pilot for the series, and hearing him in full length is so fun. Atticus in the ball pit car will always be my favorite performance from him. Even the minor characters like Tulip's parents and Michaela get decent performances, even though they're not in the whole season that much. How can I not talk about the score by KANYE? I'm such a big fan of synthesizers and music, more specifically Igor, by Tyler the Creator, or James Blake. But when you put synthesizers into a score, I would be levitating. Like, dude, I'm not that big of a fan of Stranger Things, but that theme song though. That's what's really beautiful about the score. Even if it's very ambient, it's a very catchy score. If you want to listen to the full score, you can stream it on Spotify or Apple Music. It's a really good score. But outside of that, I don't think there's much more to talk about Book 1. It's definitely the most underappreciated books in the Infinity Train series, so please go stream it on HBO Max or buy Book 1 physically on Amazon. It's definitely worth your time. Next time we'll talk about my favorite book in the series, the train documentary. I'm not kidding, we'll get into that. Then we'll talk about my favorite book in the series. Not Book 2. I'm just kidding. Book 2 is my favorite. Alright, that's it. Now how do I get out of here? The door's unlocked. Oh shit. Oh fuck. Oh fuck. Oh shit. Fuck.
Be true free.
Sonic boom. Kissy go sometimes. Kissy go sometimes. Kissy go sometimes. Spirit. Moving around, just moving around. Kissy go sometimes. Kissy go sometimes. Kissy